inductee is Harold Skip Walther. Skip was born and raised in Kirksville, Missouri. Now resides in Columbia, Missouri with his wife Kathleen. Growing up, he was not a tennis player, but a ping pong player. Then at the age of 15, he and his friend Scott traded their paddles for rackets and a new challenge. Skip's a tough guy because Scott beat him every time they played. They were the only two guys in Kirksville, Missouri of that age, so there was nobody else to play. And so I guess you'd say Skip was Scott's whipping boy. Well, they played every day until they were seniors in high school, and at that time the Kirksville High School brought on a boys high school tennis team for the first time. And Skip was finally able to come out on top in a challenge match and got to be the #1 player at Kirksville High during his senior year. Well, he headed off to the University of Missouri, go to college, and continued to play tennis there. He was a 4-year letterman there at University of Missouri, and during his senior year, Missouri won the Big 8 tennis championship. He then started his professional career and took a 10-year layoff from tennis. But then he started playing again and found out and he still got game. In 1992, he received the Heart of America's Player of the Year award. In 2002, he was the Missouri Valley Player of the Year. In 2002, he won the National Grass Court Singles Championship in the 45 and over men's singles division in Philadelphia. He has since won another national championship, been runner-up in 2 national championships, and had 8 third-place finishes. He also has been on 6 USTA's international team. This fall, Skip began a year-long term as president of the Missouri Bar Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome into the Missouri Valley Tennis Hall of Fame, Mr. Harold Skip Walther.
Normally, only my banker knows my real name. I really do what I can to avoid that. I never really thought I would ever win a national title, and I certainly never considered that I would ever be honored with an induction into the Missouri Valley Hall of Fame. It is kind of an unusual event, isn't it, Nick? It's still somewhat surprising, but it is very much appreciated. It does surprise me, and I think it would surprise anybody. Tennis is an integral part of my life, probably an integral part of everybody's life here. I play it for the challenge. I play it for the exercise, and of course it brings me around some of my best friends. And that's really what I found out is very important. There was a time when I participated for the trophies or for ranking. But that's not a very healthy approach and not particularly productive. It did take me a while to figure that one out. I was blessed with a mom who introduced me to the sport without pushing me, and she rarely watched me. She was always very supportive, but allowed me to find my own way around the tennis court. She never criticized my faults. So many of my friends were children of tennis parents. Tennis parents, and they don't participate in the game anymore. My mom's hands-off approach also meant that I did have to figure the game out for myself, and I wasn't a very quick study, despite having several hints, especially in Kirksville, where I went to high school. There was a small group of lawyers and businessmen and teachers. They created a gaggle of tennis players, and they took Scott, Simpson's last name, and I around. There were a couple of other kids who played. They take us around to these non-sanctioned tournaments around northern Missouri and southern Iowa. emergency, I wouldn't have to pay for food or gas, and this group would pay my entry fee into tournaments. And so they became kind of a close family, an extended family of sorts. And it was their generosity and their maturity, their grace and their sportsmanship and spirit that was really an unspoken lesson about what it is to be a tennis player, what it is to play tennis. But it wasn't until my senior year in college that somebody actually tried to tell me what the sport was all about. My coach as a junior and senior in college was Bill Price. He is a member of the Missouri Valley Hall of Fame. He's from St. Louis. His most famous pupils, I would suspect, were the McKinley brothers, Chuck and his brother, Bobby McKinley. Thank you very much. They're also Hall of Fame members. Chuck went on to win Wimbledon in the U.S. Open, and Bobby McKinley was an All-American at Trinity and coached there as well. Bill told me something that was, at the time, sounded good, but didn't mean much to me. But his advice on tennis was play pretty. Well, okay, I mean, it sounded fine, but it took me really a couple of decades to figure out what it was that he was talking about. Bill was one of those coaches who really didn't say much. He'd sit on the side of the court, he wouldn't yell at you or scream at you or give you instruction. He'd say something like, play pretty, or something like that, and that'd be the instruction for the month. I mean, it really was. He was very hands-off, and he was a guy. Interestingly, his claim to fame was I think a world champion table tennis player, ping pong player. He taught all of his students how to play tennis on a ping pong table because it was so much easier to piece the strokes and to master control the hand-eye coordination. And I suppose my early experience as a ping pong player probably helped me play tennis as well. But I didn't quite understand what he meant by playing pretty. But it came to me eventually. I was playing in a tournament in Philadelphia in the late 1990s and got to the quarterfinals. Was up a set, up a break in the second with break points, lost the second set, up a break in the third with 4 break points, lost the third set, and I was miserable after the match, of course. And talking to a friend of mine, Fred Robinson, who was one of the best players in my age group, and I was telling him I just couldn't see, I couldn't seem to get over the hump, couldn't seem to win matches or, beat people. He said, well, why don't you just play tennis? Which actually is the flip side of what Bill Price was saying. I'm so concerned about winning and defeating people and achieving that you forget that really all you're doing is hitting a tennis ball and you're just supposed to play tennis. Well, that advice went a long way for me. I also had a friend. I would like to thank all of my tennis friends who are here who have supported me in this. This is an unbelievable honor. My wife is here, and it's very helpful to have a spouse who understands the importance that this sport holds to so many of us. It is an incredible honor. Once again, thank you all.